Senior government sources telling our colleagues in Ottawa that on Tuesday, the government is going to release these long-awaited regulations that all new cars sold in Canada by 2035 must be zero emissions. The source says the aim is to sort of put the pedal to the metal here when it comes to the production of zero emissions vehicles to keep up with other countries like the United States. Several states have got some targets already set of their own. This is going to work on a credit system. So automakers will get credits for how many low and zero emissions vehicles they are making and selling. That's going to be how they're going to prove that they're meeting these targets. The lower the emissions, the more credits they'll get. And they will get more credits as well if they put in the charging infrastructure needed to keep these cars on the road. Companies can also then buy and sell credits from each other. Let's take a look at the timeline here. This starts with the model year 2026, and the targets will increase each year up till 2035. 20% of all vehicles sold will have to be zero emissions by 2026 rather. 60% by 2030 and 100% by 2035. So, as I said, consumers watching this very closely, especially watching the price tag of these vehicles because they are costly. The CAA says that the average price of an electric vehicle in Canada is $83,000.
To your EV goals, to the goals for electric vehicles in the United States, because it seems more and more like car dealerships can't sell them. We had a friend who just tried to have his dealers were trying to sell him an EV truck, a Ford 150 EV, for $10,000 because he wanted to clear the lot of it. And car makers are losing a lot of money. Ford is losing $36,000 per vehicle. How do you convince, one, the customers to buy them, and two, the car makers to continue to churn them out when they're losing money on every one they sell?
Well, first of all, if you know somebody who's selling a new Ford F-150 electric for $10,000, please give me their number.
I'll give it to you. I'd be happy to.
That's something I'd love to know.
Jeff Sika, who's right here, will tell you.
We had, but yeah, please do. There's about $1 million a million EVs sold. That was a new record, and the share of EVs has about tripled. But there's going to be year-to-year fluctuations, right? A year ago, they couldn't stock them fast enough. Now we're seeing more of those ups and downs in demand. What we're shooting for is
that's because one reason is because the price of gas is going way down, and of course people are less interested in electrics when gas goes down, right?
Yeah, but again, the share of EVs has been dramatically increasing every single year, and that's continuing. Now, our goal is by the end of this decade to be about half and half. I don't know a lot of people who think that Americans in 2050 are still going to be driving that old technology, that combustion technology that we inherited from the 20th century.
Americans
but the big
like
question is, well, no, you're not going to meet a lot of people who ever go back after they've gone electric, and I think that really tells you something.
The political push to force you to buy an electric car in many states hitting another little bit of a speed bump. In fact, thousands of auto dealers are now calling for President Biden to, quote, tap the brakes on the unrealistic government electric vehicle mandate. Their words. With us tonight is one of those dealership owners, the owner of Celebrity Motor Cars, Tom Maioli. Tom, this isn't like you and a couple other people, right? I mean, this is a lot of car dealers writing this letter to the White House.
Yes, good to see you. This is thousands. This is thousands of dealerships that represent multiple brands, not just one brand, domestic, international brands, and all across the board. And this is basically the voice of the consumer. This is not the dealer. This is the voice of the consumer. And what's happening is the manufacturer is being forced to produce these EVs. They're shipping them to the dealerships, and they're backing up on the lots. Our average day supply pre-COVID was 60 to 90 days supply of inventory. During COVID, it was less than 30 because of the supply chain issues. We're now backed up to 12 months with EVs. Consumers don't want them. They're not buying them. We have up to $15,000 in rebates from the manufacturer and $7,500 tax credits. We're talking $22,500.
And people, they think I'm some EV hater. I've owned an EV. I've driven many of them. I'm not. In fact, I've been poking around because I think they're very cool in many different ways. I was looking at a Ford F-150 Lightning, and I saw something, and you have a Ford dealership, and it wasn't on your website, it was on cars.com. I don't know who the dealer was.
Should have been on my site.
Well, I'll go back. Okay, but the Lightning retails for what? 95 new, something like that.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
I saw brand new F-150 Lightning. I mean, like 23 miles on it
Yes.
for $78,000. It had been
Correct.
marked down $20,000. How is that
Correct.
possible?
Still can't sell it. Consumer doesn't want it. The consumer's in fear over the infrastructure. The infrastructure is not there. The White House and the Biden administration and got way out over its skis with this mandate, and the consumer has to buy into it, and they're not. And the problem that exists now is, they force the manufacturers to spend all this money to build these plants and produce these vehicles, but the consumers aren't buying into it. They're afraid of range. They're afraid of where they're going to charge. And we're not talking about, listen, Tesla is a vanity purchase. People have to have a Tesla. They have a second vehicle. Most people can't afford the first vehicle, never mind the second vehicle. And these people are coming out to the dealerships and they're buying these vehicles and they're afraid. These are average working American people. They're putting their families in the car. Moms are driving their kids to school. Dads have to get to work. And, if they have to charge on the road and it takes 30 minutes to charge.
Tom, we're running out of time, Tom. I'm sorry to interrupt, but a crazy night. Can you kill a myth? Because there's going to be people on Twitter that pop up after this segment and say dealers hate them because they're not getting the services revenue.
It's not.
I talk to car dealers almost every day. I got friends that own them, and they make a ton of money on EV service because the EV costs are much higher. The windshield in an EV is like $5,000.
Listen, we're either going to sell EVs, we're going to sell gas vehicles, or we're going to sell hybrids. We're going to sell something. We believe in EVs. They're a part of the market, but it has to evolve, and they're not letting it evolve.
So this is not like we just hate them because they don't need oil changes, right?
No, not at all. No, we want to sell EVs, but they have to evolve. You have to let the market evolve and the infrastructure evolve, not shove it down the consumer's throat.